Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness was a game that was released in late 2000 for the PlayStation 1, but was also later ported to the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Dreamcast, but also got a handheld version on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance in 2004. I'll be playing the PlayStation 1 version for this review. The game was a spin-off of the popular PS1 classic Pac-Man World, the 20th anniversary game for the Pac-Man series that took our beloved pill-poppin' ball man and adapted him into the 3D adventure world. The game was a big success and it paved the way for this game here. I remember enjoying this game a lot when I was a kid, even though I never beat nor owned it, but is it really as good as I remember it to be? Let's find out in my review for Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness. Before the title screen begins, we're introduced to the opening cinematic for the game that pretty much lays out the plot of this adventure. We learn that the world of Pac-Land has been taken over by dark forces who are trying to steal the 4 sacred gems of virtue that maintain balance to the 4 areas of Pac-World. Not only that, but the princess of Pac-Land has gone missing and her enchanted palace has been turned into a creepy castle of Halloween. You know, Halloween isn't an evil holiday, right? Anyway, to add even more, Ms. Pac-Man's friend Professor Pac also gets kidnapped by a shadowy figure, but with the help of his Pactrometer, a device that allows one to travel to the 4 different lands of Pac-Land, it's up to Ms. Pac-Man to retrieve all 4 sacred gems, rescue the princess, and return balance to the world of Pac-Land. The story is more on the lighthearted, simplistic side of things, but I'm okay with that for a game like this. The overall presentation is decent, and while Ms. Pac-Man herself doesn't talk, her body language is expressive enough, and the voice acting for the other characters was not too bad. Overall, the game had a simple but sweet presentation. Ms. Pac-Man Maze Madness is a 3D maze game that pretty much plays like a traditional Pac-Man game, only you know, in 3D. I remember when I first played this game, it was after I played Pac-Man World, and I initially thought it was going to play just like that game, you know, like a 3D platformer. Imagine my surprise when I learned that Ms. Pac-Man couldn't jump or spin roll. It did take some time to adjust, but I managed. It was just something that totally took me by surprise when I was a kid. I've gotta say that the graphics for this game look very nice, and we're on par with the likes of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, but with the colorful and relatively detailed environments, and lively character models. All in all, I think the graphics held up pretty nicely. Like I mentioned before, the game plays like a traditional Pac-Man game, only in 3D, and it gives us the point A to point B formula where you venture until you reach the end of the level. Along the way, you'll have to collect a certain number of Pac Dots to open up pathways to further progress in the level as well. You'll also run into other objects like TNT crates and skull crates. I'm pretty sure they took inspiration from the Crash Bandicoot TNT crates, as they pretty much operate the same way, only here, you're able to push them in any free direction, which you'll need to occasionally do to blow up obstacles that are obstructing your path. But don't touch the skull crates, because if you do, it's an automatic death. You'll also run into springboards that you can use to hop onto neighboring platforms or objects, and you'll also occasionally find these blue speed pushers that'll have Ms. Pac-Man's spin dash, which is useful for breaking stone crates that are blocking a pathway, or knocking down stone pillars to use as bridges. Ah, Sonic the Hedgehog will be proud. You're also able to score some extra lives by either collecting their icon that are scattered on the field, or getting 10,000 points that you can earn from eating Pac Dots, enemies, and collecting the 6 fruit you find scattered in every quest level. Really, the gameplay formula is pretty simplistic, but still rather enjoyable. The added-in puzzle solving was what I really enjoyed about this game, as it was neat trying to figure out what you needed to do to get around the different obstacles the levels threw at you. Couple that with tight responsive controls, and you're in for quite the adventuring experience. Ms. Pac-Man is also quite a beast, as she can take quite a few hits before she dies. Though this doesn't mean you should totally abuse that, because non-ghost enemies and level hazards can really add up, so it's best to stay alert and on your feet. While I'm on this subject, let's talk about the levels. Like I explained in the beginning, you traverse through 4 different lands and each of them represent a different theme. These themes consisted of ancient Egyptian ruins, a cavern, an oriental harbor, and a haunted castle. While it doesn't feel like much compared to other games, especially as a follow-up to Pac-Man World, I personally thought that they were handled fine, and they were fun to explore for the most part. So what about the enemies? Well, other than the signature ghost of the Pac-Man series who you've come to love, or hate, Blinky, Pinky, Inky, and Clyde make a return in this game as well, but you also run into the other enemies that match their respective levels' themes. For example, in the Egyptian stages, you'll run into mummies and these Anubis creatures, or in the cave stages, you'll run into these weird caveman block dudes, or in the Chinese harbor stages, you run into dragons, and finally, in the haunted castle stages, you'll run into Frankenstein creatures and vampires. The enemies are defeated the same way you defeat ghosts, by eating a special Pac Dot that turns them blue for a limited amount of time. I thought the enemies in this game were good, and I liked how the developers didn't get lazy with them, as they could have easily just stuck with the ghost enemies and called it a day. Now the boss battles on the other hand, well, there are only 2 bosses in this game. only 2. And they're the same person. Whoopee. The only boss you fight in this game is Mesmeralda, the main antagonist of this game, and it's a 2-part battle the 2 times you face her. To put it shortly, the fight isn't hard, but it still was mildly engaging, especially during the second phase of our fight. Though to be honest, I was pretty miffed that we didn't get any other bosses, as it would have been cool to fight level-themed bosses like in Pac-Man World. Mesmeralda's boss fight wasn't necessarily bad, but the fact that we got no other varying bosses was pretty disappointing. The music is probably one of the best things about this game. Each song is brimming with personality, and they master level's theme perfectly, from the bouncy energetic Egyptian theme, to the cold mysterious theme of the caves, to the Chinese oriental vibes of Pac-Ping Harbor, and the creepy ominous themes of the haunted castle, and topped off with a great boss theme. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say that Pac-Man Maze Madness' soundtrack is one of my all-time favorite video game soundtracks of all time. The music composer John Holland did an amazing job. The game does have a bit of replay value, as after you've completed a level, you can go back and earn stars by collecting all the Pac dots and collecting all 6 fruits of said level. And last but not least, you can enter time trial mode and try to complete the stage in record time to earn another star. And lastly, you can earn more stars by completing the various minigames that the game offers as well. Personally, I didn't bother with all that stuff, but it's there for those who are interested in completing the game at 100%. Other than that, it's pretty much a one and done game. The game also offered a pretty fun multiplayer mode, where you can play against computers or against your friends, and while you can only choose from 3 minigames, they were pretty well done for the most part. I had a lot of fun with them. Overall, I thought the game was okay, and while it's not the hardest game out there, and it lacked interesting boss variety, I still had a rather fun time playing this game. That all said, Miss Pac-Man Maze Madness gets 7 out of 10. For its time, the game was pretty fun, and it's one I feel that anyone can enjoy, and in my opinion, it definitely has aged well, and is worth playing today if you're looking for a more relaxed, simplistic kind of game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more gaming goodness. I'm Decadent Gamer, and you have yourselves a great day. Thanks for watching.